Hey everybody, this is Glenn Garnes with Get Ready to Profit, and I am going to be a little presumptuous here by welcoming you to a decision you're about to make to become part of the Partners in Profit Club. Get Ready to Profit operates a mailing list of entrepreneur-minded individuals who we give special ideas, special resources, and tips all year long to. So if you like the bonuses that you've gotten so far, simply by virtue of being part of our pre-launch mailing list, then you're going to love the idea that you can continue to receive bonuses like that all year long by simply becoming part of Partners in Profit. And the good news is that it's free. So I want you to make sure that you go over to getreadytoprofit.com and put your email and name and email address in one more time so that you get notified of all the bonuses that come along with being in the Partners in Profit Club. There are some additional bonuses that didn't come from the pre-launch that you're going to get as part of Partners in Profit. So do both. You're already part of the main mailing list for the pre-launch. Let's get you part of the Partners in Profit Club as well. Now, this particular lesson is a special bonus that we're offering everyone that became part of the pre-launch process. And this is an actual lesson out of our Bold New Economy, the Training Ground for Entrepreneurs program. In that program, we teach people everything they need to know from the start of their business, really beginning with even the idea of being in business, all the way through the marketing of their business, development of the business, the marketing, and even the selling of the business when you get tired of doing whatever you're doing, you want to move on and do something else. So the point is that we have a program that's designed to help you to do that. And this is the orientation lesson from that program. And I'm giving this to you as a gift because I really feel strongly about your decision to become part of the pre-launch of our organization, of the Get Ready to Profit podcast. And I want to reward you for making the decision to support that effort. So in this lesson, we're going to talk a little bit about preparing you for entrepreneurship. What does it mean to be an entrepreneur? What is your idea? In other words, what is it that you plan to do in your business? You may have more than one idea, but the point is we got to start with one. And then we want to do some things to prepare you for the journey of entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is very different than employment. And there's some things you definitely need to understand about the entrepreneurship idea, the entrepreneurship process that you don't get when you're an employee. So we want to make sure you don't miss that. Now, one of the first things that I encourage people to do, and this is always a great idea, whether you're an employee mindset person or an entrepreneur mindset person, but it's especially important for entrepreneurs, is to learn how to invest in yourself. And what I mean by that is that a lot of us think that training and education is a one-time or a process that has an end to it. We go to college and we get a degree, so we consider ourselves to be finished with college. If we go to graduate school, we get another degree, and we consider ourselves to be finished with that. The truth is that you should be investing in yourself throughout your life when it comes to education. Self-education, I find, is actually more important than formal academic education. Whenever I go to speak before student groups, I always let them know, hey, congratulations, you graduated from high school. Now it's time for the learning to really begin, especially if they're going out into the so-called real world at that point. But the truth is that is true whether you're graduating from college, whether you're graduating from graduate school. It's the learning that takes place after you've gotten the sheepskin that really ends up becoming the most meaningful. So college and formal education basically teaches you how to find information. But in terms of how you put it into play for yourself, the application of that information is what gives it the power. And that you learn through life. So get ready, not just to profit, but get ready to learn. Now, I want to encourage you to adopt a principle that I find it has served me well, and I know it'll serve you well in the process of my sharing it with you, which is I want you to get used to the idea of investing in yourself consistently. Investing meaning taking courses, learning new things, going to workshops and seminars, picking up a book, and doing that consistently with clear intention, because there is nothing that is more powerful than when you're growing. And you should learn how to invest in yourself at the level at which you expect results. In other words, if you expect to be able to do big things, then you have to prepare yourself to do that. And that means that you might need to make a larger investment in yourself. Don't nickel and dime your capabilities by limiting yourself to things that are just for free. Now, the truth is that you can find some really awesome free stuff out here, including this lesson and some of the other bonuses that we gave you. But don't assume that all of the things that you need to be successful in life are going to come to you for free. A lot of them will, but don't limit yourself to that. If you want big results, create a budget to invest in yourself in a big way. Now, one of the biggest challenges that I see most people face when it comes to investing in themselves is understanding the right mindset to be in as they do that. There is definitely a mindset that you have to be willing to adopt to be successful at anything. And it starts with having a positive mental attitude. And the reason that a positive mental attitude is so important in everything that we do is that it kind of sets the stage for the train to leave the station and to move down the track and progressively pick up steam and to take you to your destination. So the reason I want to lay this out for you in this way is because a lot of people don't understand the importance of the attitude that they have towards life, towards work, towards their family, towards friends, or anything else. So I want to start off with this premise, and you might want to write these things down. If we start with the fact that your attitude is the starting place for everything else that happens in your life. Your attitude leads you to the action that you'll take in life. The action that you take in life leads you to the results that you get. There's a cause and effect relationship between what you think, what you do, and what you get. The results that you get dictate the lifestyle that you get to live. Now, see, here's the problem for most of us. Most of us have the attitude that we want to get to the lifestyle that we want without understanding the action it takes and the results that we're getting and how to get to that point in time in our life. So I want you to understand that if you can get this much down, then you are light years ahead of your contemporaries. Attitude leads to action. Action leads to results. Results lead to lifestyle. So if we have that as the basis or the base or the foundation for our attitude or our understanding of how things work, then you'll understand then that a positive attitude will lead you to take positive action. Positive action will lead you to positive results. And positive results will lead you to a positive lifestyle. And that's why it's so important to understand that it all starts with what you have in your head. It all starts with what you think. It all starts with the spirit in which you do things. And that's all about attitude. That's why all the big names in the personal development industry, everyone from Andrew Carnegie to Earl Nightingale to Napoleon Hill and more, they've all focused on your doing things in the right attitude because they know that that starts the chain reaction of the right action, the right results, and the right lifestyle. Now, just like positive attitude and positive action and positive results and positive lifestyle can be your destiny if you have a positive mental attitude, the opposite is also true. If you have a negative attitude, it tends to lead to negative action. Negative action leads to negative results, and negative results lead to a negative lifestyle. Now, if that's what's happening for you in your life right now, it's up to you to make a choice to change that, and you can change it. Because all it takes is for you to make a commitment to change your mind. Positive mental attitude is about changing your mind, deciding that you're willing to do and commit to the things that are necessary to get you the results that you really want versus the ones that you're currently getting. Most people live life, and this is unfortunate, most people live life settling for what they think they can get rather than going after what they really want. And then they get to the end of the process and they feel that they're filled with regret about all the things that they didn't do when they had the opportunity to. Don't ever put yourself in a position to be regretful of the path that you've taken. If you have a positive attitude, then you're going to make positive things happen. And those positive things are going to get you the results you want. And that's going to give you a lifestyle that you can look back on and say, wow, I'm glad I made the commitment to invest in myself. If you make that commitment, I promise that will happen for you. Now, your future starts with a two-stage process that is so simple that this often goes over people's heads. You have to understand that the lifestyle you currently live is a function of decisions that you've made in your past. Sometimes the immediate past and sometimes the more distant past, but it's always a matter. You're always presently living in the residual of decisions that you've previously made. So if you don't like the results that you're getting, if you don't like the current circumstances you face, then you need to start being prepared to correct the errors in your past and then also pick up new disciplines for the future. That means that if you're not happy with where you are, it's usually because you don't know enough and you haven't made the right choices. So you have to start making better choices and learning more. And making better choices starts with learning more. If you learn these principles that we're sharing here, you can't help but walk away with a better outlook, a better mindset than the one that you may have been introduced to us with. So please take this seriously. It doesn't take much for you to correct the errors of the past and to pick up new disciplines for the future. The truth is that these things are easy if we define easy as something you're capable of doing without having extraordinary effort involved. Now, does it take some effort? Of course it does. If it was effortless, everyone would do it, and it wouldn't be worth doing. The truth is that most of us confuse easy with effortless, which is why we don't do it. If it's not effortless, then we won't put the effort. We won't do anything to make it happen. But if you define easy as something you can do without extraordinary effort, it may take consistency. It may take some effort. It may take a little bit more than what you're used to putting out, but it's going to be worth it if you can create the lifestyle that you want, and especially if you're able to do that in the form of a pursuit of entrepreneurship. So everything starts with a positive mental attitude. And if you have a positive mental attitude, then it gets really exciting for you to stop and take the next step, which is to decide what you really want. In other words, a lot of us, we drift through life because we aren't taking the time to stop and think about where we're going and what we're trying to do. We get up in the morning and we get a shower and we get out the door and we get into a car and we drive through rush hour traffic to go to a job we hate, working with people we don't like, making less money than we think we're worth. And we repeat that process day after day after day without giving any thought to what it would take to change that. We're hoping things will change, but we're not making a commitment to change. So the first step in changing your circumstances is to decide what you really want. And if you're listening to this lesson, if you're watching this lesson, I hope that you're looking to do it through entrepreneurship, because that's what we're here to teach you. Now, once you decide what you want, you have to commit to the things that are necessary to get it. If you see somebody doing something that you want to do for yourself, you need to find out what did they do and then commit yourself to model yourself after them. We're going to talk more about that later. And then, of course, again, we want to commit to take consistent action. When I say consistent action, I'm not talking about monumental action. Sometimes success in something is simply a matter of doing a few simple things consistently. We call those habits. You see, right now we've got some habits that we do consistently that are leading us in the direct opposite direction that we want to go. That's where we need to correct the errors of the past and start developing habits that get us heading in the direction that we want to be heading in. If you're going to have habits, why not make them habits that are pushing you forward rather than dragging you back? So keep that in mind as you go along, because I can tell you right now, there is no better way for us to express this than to tell you that you're only one step away from getting the lifestyle that you deserve. But you've got to take that step. One of my favorite people on the planet, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, back when he was with us, one of my favorite quotes from him was this: "Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. And I live by that. I live by that quote because I believe that there is a lot of truth in it. So many of us won't take a step because we don't see what the end result is going to be on the front end. We don't act with faith. We don't believe that we can change our circumstances, so we don't make the effort. That's wrong thinking. You've got to know that if you take the right action consistently, that the results are going to follow. Otherwise, what are you doing in life? So, on that note, I'd like to talk with you a little bit about what your attitude towards life is. Are you the kind of person that tends to blame versus taking responsibility yourself for what happens in your life? Are you the kind of person that tends to envy others versus be inspired by them? You see, we often look at what other people have, and instead of saying to ourselves, wow, I'd like to have that too, I wonder what they did to get it, let me find out, we turn that into a negative situation by creating in our minds, oh, they must have stolen that, or they don't deserve it, and whatever it is that we create in our minds, it just drags us down. Instead, we ought to look at what people around us are doing to be happy, and if we want that too, we should find out how they got it. You'd be stunned to find out that they didn't steal your opportunity by acquiring something for themselves. If you live in a world of abundance, there's plenty for everyone. You need to learn how to go out and get yours. Are you the kind of person that lives in fear versus being in control? That's a big personal development principle. All the major personal development coaches talk about that. Being paralyzed by fear or learning how to control your destiny, how to set your sail yourself. And of course, are you the kind of person that seeks opportunity or sees tragedy everywhere you go? You got to think about that one a little bit. Every time you say to yourself, and this is where your self-speak comes into play. Every time you say to yourself something that keeps you from taking action, you're basically sabotaging your future. You need to see opportunity when there's a challenge. Don't look at it as something to be avoided. Look at it as something to be conquered. Look at it as something to go through so that you grow. And it's not go through it, it's grow through it. Because nobody faces a challenge without coming out the other end better than they were before they started. So again, you're starting to see, hopefully, how much your attitude towards life affects the quality of life that you get to live. The truth is, the people that are living the lifestyles that they want, they tend to have self-control. They tend to be disciplined. By disciplined, I mean they develop habits that are consistent with the goals that they have, and they have goals. So you want to make sure that you're one of those people who is moving in the right direction because you have goals and you have the right attitude about how to pursue them. Now, with that in mind, I want to talk a little bit about the importance of training and personal development. Everything that I know to do in life is the result of making a conscious choice to go and learn it, whether it's in a formal academic environment by going to college or something like that, or vocational school, or just taking courses on things that you need to know in order to be successful in whatever it is you're seeking to do. You have to also, though, make a commitment to apply what you learn. It's not enough to know something. A lot of people, they're satisfied with taking a course, reading a book, and then they never do anything to implement what they just learned. And then they're stunned to find out that it's not making a difference. It's like buying a toolkit and expecting for a house to build itself. You've got to buy the toolkit, learn how to use the tools, and then create with them. So I want to encourage you not to satisfy yourself with just getting training on a regular basis. Make sure you're committing to implement the training. That's what gives it power. Knowledge, unfortunately, is not power. Knowledge is potential power that's activated by the action you take to apply it. If you're not going to commit yourself to applying what you learn, you might as well not know it. In fact, there's a quote that I like: to know and not to do is not to know. In other words, if you know something and you're not doing it, you might as well not know it. Now, it's important from time to time to review your results. You've got to take the time to take a look at what you're doing to see if you're heading in the right direction. That's why we have a GPS system to make sure that we're staying on track. If you don't know whether you're on or off track, then the action that you're taking may be ineffective. But here's my point. If you're reviewing your results, then you'll see where you're making progress and you'll see where adjustments need to be made, and you'll know how to go out and make those adjustments based on what you're seeing. If you're not paying attention, though, then you're going to miss the opportunity to make those adjustments. Once you make your adjustments, you want to get more training, learn more, find out what you need to do to keep moving towards the right destination. And that's not hard to do. It's actually very inspiring when you engage in this process where you're learning, applying, seeing the results that you get, and knowing exactly what you need to do to make adjustments to keep you moving and accelerating your pace. It's kind of like when you first learned to ride a bicycle, you went pretty slow. But once you got used to getting up off the ground after falling off, figuring out what it took to keep yourself on the bicycle, now all of a sudden you start picking up steam and you go faster than ever. And that's true of your life as an entrepreneur as well. Now, one of the most rewarding things that you can do when you are an entrepreneur is to teach others how to do the same, how to get into business for themselves, how to do what you just did, how to create. And when you prepare yourself to teach somebody how to do something like that, you now have also mastered that process more for yourself. Now, on that note, there's a few things you need to know about being in business for yourself. And the first is that most people have a difficult time taking their businesses seriously, especially when they're making the switch from a paycheck to a business. You see, it's very easy to get comfortable with your paycheck and not realize that the reason that you have a job is because somebody else had an idea. And if you could have the discipline to develop ideas yourself and pursue them, you could be the one doing the hiring instead of the one looking for a job all the time. But that takes some discipline. It takes it's a requirement that you take your business seriously. Now, if you had to go out and invest $500,000 or more to start a business, you probably wouldn't have a hard time making that commitment to follow through. But the truth is, the majority of businesses that people get started today don't require that kind of financial commitment, which is why they have an up and down approach to how they choose to build them. If you have to make a choice between whether you're going to sit on the couch and watch a basketball game or whether you're going to look up some research on how to market your business and you haven't invested $500,000 to make a business, you might be making the choice to watch the basketball game, but then you become envious of the people who, while you were watching the basketball game, were building their businesses. You see why that doesn't make sense? So I want you to make a commitment to take your business seriously. I want you to visualize yourself as if you did invest $500,000 or more to get your business started. I promise it'll change your attitude to a positive one and keep you focused on doing the things that are necessary to capitalize on your business. Now, in business, there's absolutely going to be two things that are going to happen. There are going to be days when you're really excited, things are going well, and you're just over the top excited. And then there's going to be times when things are not going exactly the way you want, and you might experience some self-doubt. And what you need to understand is that that's a normal cycle in business, but that's why having a positive mental attitude is so important, because when you feel yourself being dragged down by things not going right, you need to develop some balance and return yourself to an even keel and keep things moving in the right direction. Because it's not good to be up too high, and it definitely is not good to be down too low. You should maintain an even keel so that you can maintain focus. Now, in the beginning of any business, you have to understand that there's going to be more time and money invested to get yourself going and less time and money invested on the back end. So in the early years of your business, you should expect to spend more time and make less money. But as you start to get into a rhythm, as you start to learn the business, as you start to be successful in the business, you're going to find that you're going to end up making more money in less time. But you've got to stay in the game long enough for that to happen. Most people give up before they turn the tables to the point where they're making more money in less time. This is not an overnight process any more than anything else that you do in your life is overnight. I used the example the other day in a workshop I was teaching about if you walked into McDonald's and ate a Big Mac today and got fat overnight, you wouldn't have any problem not eating the Big Mac. It's because that happens over a sustained period of repetition that you're okay with allowing that to happen. But just like you don't get fat overnight and you don't lose weight necessarily overnight, your business doesn't necessarily grow overnight. Now, if that happens for you, good for you. But my point is that you're going to probably find that it's more likely to be slow, steady progress over a period of time than that you open up your doors and you're an immediate success. I'm not saying there aren't stories like that out there, but what I'm saying is if that doesn't happen for you, it doesn't make it not worth it. Keep going anyway. Now, we talked about the importance of learning, and there's 4 ways that we learn, and I want to talk about those in turn here. The first is formal knowledge, formal learned knowledge, classroom setting, reading books, etc. And none of these are more important than the other. They all play a role in what you're doing. So learned knowledge is the first way and the most official way that we learn. Another way that we learn is through activity knowledge. That's where we actually get out and apply the things that we learned. And it's important for you to do both for the reasons that we've already stated. The third way that we learn, which is where for the first time we're hopefully shortening our learning curve, is by modeling knowledge. That's where we look at what somebody else has done to be successful, and we make the commitment to do those things ourselves because someone else has already created a blueprint for success in doing that thing. It does not make sense for you to reinvent the wheel when you can follow somebody else's model. Now think about this. When you were in high school and when you were in college, they actually penalized you for copying other people. Now you get out in the real world, and the first thing they tell you is to copy other people. So I'm going to encourage you to be a copycat, but just make sure you copy the right cat. Copy someone that's achieving what you want to do in your life and find out what they did to do it. Now, one of the easiest ways to do that is to go out and read the biographies of some of the people who have been successful in business. Find out the challenges they faced, the things that they learned, and who they connected with, and find out for yourself what their model was. It's amazing how many successful people are willing to tell you exactly how they did it. And all you've got to do is pick up the book and read it. The last way that we learn, as we talked earlier, is through teaching knowledge. That's where we learn it well enough that we can show somebody else the way. And it's very, as I said, very rewarding to do that for 2 reasons. Number one is that you're helping others to lift themselves up as you climb. You see, a lot of us, we don't appreciate how much value there is in sharing what we know with others so that we can hopefully shorten their learning curve. That's one of the reasons that I teach these lessons is I want to make sure that you don't have to wait 30 years, 40 years to get this right. My goal is to give you this information at the earliest point in time in your life so that you have the longest period of time to benefit from it. And that's why I take this seriously. That's why Get Ready to Profit is so near and dear to me, because I know that I can have a positive impact in a big way on a lot of people by shortening their learning curve, by giving them access to information they never would have known existed, let alone that they needed to have. So again, I appreciate your giving me an opportunity to share this with you. I certainly hope you'll do something with it. Now, not everyone out of the blocks knows exactly what they want to do in business, but you have to take the time to think about what you want to do. One of the best places to start is to think about what you have an interest in. Whether it be sports, whether it be art, whether it be math, whatever your interest may be. It could be recreation. Maybe you like to bowl. Maybe you like to fish. Whatever it is, I encourage you to start by writing down what your interests are. And I have found it rarely the case that you cannot find a way to make money doing something you love. In fact, I think that that's one of the most important things to do in life is to find what you love and be able to turn it into an income stream for you. Because your passion will drive your willingness to stick with it long enough to make it profitable and then be able to touch other people's lives by giving them the gift of what you know about that subject matter. So as you think about what your business idea would be, think about what you love doing, think about what you have knowledge of or know to do, think about what you're good at. All of those things combined will eventually lead you to being able to find what is best for you to be in business from a subject matter standpoint. Now, we have other resources that are available in Bold New Economy and people in our circle of influence that can help you to flesh out your idea and to direct you in a way that gets you to your idea. So if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to me. You can contact me through the Partners in Profit program, especially because you'll be on the mailing list. You'll be part of our community. It's all free. So if you have questions about coming up with a business idea, find me with some of the free gifts that we gave you. And reach out and let me know how I can help. Now, I want you to understand the importance of having ideas. There's a difference between having an idea and providing labor. You see, people will always pay you more for your ideas than they will for your labor. And if you have any doubt about that, think about this. How much would Bill Gates have made if he had taken the idea for Windows to his boss? That company may have made a fortune, but he would have probably made whatever a software developer makes working for somebody else internally. So think about that. Same thing with Steve Jobs. What if he had gone to his boss with the idea for the iPhone instead of creating it himself? So the nice thing about ideas is that your income is not dependent on your labor. It's dependent only on how creative you can be. It also creates revenue in your absence. Think about this. If you're used to getting a paycheck, you know how this works. You go to work and you get paid. You go to work and you get paid. You don't go to work, you don't get paid. Think about the fact that if you created something that people bought on a daily basis, you might not ever have to get out of bed in the morning again, ever. So ideas create revenue in your absence. And of course, the importance of ideas is that your idea, the value of your idea is related not so much to your activity as much as the impact of the idea. Some of the simplest ideas have been the most profitable and lucrative, not because it took a lot of effort, but because it solved somebody's problem and they had a big problem. But the solution could have been relatively simple. So I'm encouraging you to focus on getting ideas and stop thinking about monetizing your talents exclusively through your own labor. Remember, once again, people will pay you more for your ideas than they will for your labor. Now, this is a real important moment for most people because it sounds uncomfortable to make decisions about who you choose to spend your time with. But I'm going to tell you right now that entrepreneurship is the kind of thing where you really need to have quality people around you at all times. You can't afford to be in the company of naysayers, people that are negative and grumbling. You need to be in the company of people who are inspiring to you, who are pushing you forward, who are encouraging you. In fact, there's a quote, another one of my favorite quotes. It goes, "Live by the 3-foot rule. Surround yourself with people that enhance you intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, and professionally." And when you think about it, if people aren't doing one of those things, inspiring you emotionally, intellectually, professionally, or otherwise, you really have to ask yourself, what are they doing to you? You want to make sure you're around people that have you moving forward, not dragging yourself back in time. The other thing that you want to do is to seek out opportunities to work together with others. Accomplishing your objectives is always easier when you put together a group of people who can help you. And it's not always people helping you for free either. I'm talking about, it might be accountants and lawyers and business coaches and other people that have resources and expertise. Don't go it alone. Your idea was meant to come to life, not necessarily to be brought to life only by you. Be smart about it so that you can achieve more in the time that you do have. And I want to encourage you to invest in relationships with other people. The same way you're looking for people to be a resource to you, you should be looking to be a resource to other people as well. None of this is hard to do. It may be a surprise for you to know that Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, and Henry Ford were all members of a mastermind group where they got together on a regular basis to support each other's businesses. Can you imagine the ideas that were discussed around that table? Henry Ford, Edwin C. Barnes, Harvey Firestone, and Thomas Edison? That is an incredible array of people in the history of the Industrial Revolution and in the history of the world. But they all understood one thing. It's important for them to seek opportunities to collaborate and also to invest in the relationships around them. You should learn from that model. Now, that concludes this lesson on entrepreneurship, your orientation. I hope that you found value in some of what we shared with you here today. And I certainly hope that you will take action on that. Because I can tell you right now that those that take action are rewarded differently than those that don't. You can be someone who is rewarded very handsomely by taking action today to move forward with some of the things that you've learned here, especially the importance of investing in yourself through personal development, constantly being on a path of growth. And I encourage you to do that. We want to do everything we can to facilitate that for you. So that's one of the reasons we do the Get Ready to Profit podcast. So stay connected, stay tuned in, listen to the episodes, invite other people to join you. Make sure that you are feeding your mind. Put your mind on a steady diet of good information, and you'll be amazed at how far you can go. So on behalf of Get Ready to Profit and the Bold New Economy, I want to thank you for watching this special episode, the special edition of our orientation lesson. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you want, reach out and give me some feedback. Let me know how you enjoyed this information. All right, folks, we will look forward to seeing you on the radio show. Thanks again, and I hope you get ready to profit.